In a world filled with ones and zeros, gluten-free bread, small talk, and the color beige, there live among us a few brave souls who break the mold, irritating their neighbors, making a mess, playing pretend, and letting their imaginations fly free. They are the Creatives! They're here to answer a question so consequential that it transcends both space and time. And that question is, so when are you going to get a real job?
P.S. This interview was filmed over Zoom and may contain the occasional sound or video glitch. All complaints can be sent to the elders of the internet. P.P.S. In the event of adult content and bad language being used, cover your ears and sing la 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 la. And now, on with the interview.
This multi-talented, multi-skilled, multifaceted, and multi-award-winning woman wears many hats. So let's take a closer look at the hatstand of Candice van Litsenborgh. Hat number 1. The on-screen hat. Candice has starred in TV shows, short films, full-length features, and commercials like Chicken Licken, BP, and Savannah. Hat number 2, the voiceover hat. Candice has lended her voice to audiobooks, training videos, international TV shows, animations, and also the radio. Hat number 3, the play hat. Candice has performed in Shakespeare's like A Midsummer Night's Dream, Hamlet, and Much Ado About Nothing. She was in the classic The Great Gatsby. She's performed in Vacancy and the acclaimed theatre production Court. Hat number 4, the musical theatre hat. Candice has captivated audiences in JC Superstar, Chess, Showboat, Evita, Mamma Mia, and Sunset Boulevard, and she's taken center stage in her one-woman show Understudy Blues. She blew us away in Little Shop of Horrors for her Fleur de Cap and the Lady Award-nominated performance of Audrey. She was praised for her work in Sweeney Todd with another Fleur de Cap nomination, as well as understudying Mrs. Lovett. She slayed in Annie and was Miss Hannigan's understudy. She received a Broadway World Award for her amazing performance as Shirley in Priscilla, Queen of the Desert. She thrilled us yet again as Jack's angry mother in Into the Woods, and most recently she strutted the stage as Trish in the hit musical Kinky Boots. But wait, there's more. Candice is not just a boss on the stage, but off the stage too. She is a celebrated playwright and producer, with her very own production company, Canned Rice Productions, who have had hit shows with Real Person Inc., Sasselberg Common Girls, From the Heart, and the aforementioned shows Court, Vacancy, and Understudy Blues. With a hatstand like this, you can see why Candice is a South African theatre favourite. And now, without further ado, here she is.
Welcome to the show. We've decided to do a little bit of an icebreaker with you and ask you some getting to know you questions. Are you ready?
Yes.
Here we go. If you could play a male lead in a musical, who would you want to play?
Oh no, I'm not good at these. Jesus in JC Superstar would be quite good. Yeah, that'd be a good one. Gethsemane's amazing. And it was also the first show that I ever, like, big musical that I did as a professional actor. So yeah, Sito was amazing. Yeah, that'd be a good one.
Have you ever experienced paranormal activity?
Oh, yes. I don't really believe it, but the PE Opera House is supposed to be like one of the most haunted buildings in South Africa or something. And I did have a very weird experience there. I was doing Annie, I think it was Annie. Anyway, I can't remember what the show was, but something I was doing there. And I had left the theatre. Everyone had left. And I realized I'd forgotten something in my dressing room. And Becca will know, like, you've got to go down underneath the stage and all the way to the other side. And it's a mission. It's like 3 flights down the one side. So I just went, screw it, I'm going to go across the stage. Naughty. And only the pilot light was on. And as I started to cross, I felt something up in the balcony. And I looked up and there was a man in period costume standing on the balcony. But there is another theatre up there called The Barn. So I was like, okay, it's someone who's rehearsing in the barn or something. So I said, hi. And he waved back at me. And I was like, shit, I've been caught like going across the stage. Whoops. Ran, got the thing from, it was the very first dressing room. So got whatever I'd left behind and then ran back and he was gone. So when I went to security, I just said to them, guys, don't lock up yet. There's still someone in the building. Someone's up in the barn. And they went, no, there's not. And I was like, no, there definitely is. I was like, I saw him, he's like, and described what he was wearing. And they went, no, there's no one rehearsing up there. They were like, actually, the gates and everything are locked going up there. So there's no one. I was like, I'm not going to ask any more questions. I'm just going to go away now.
Nope. Okay, next question. What is the view from your bedroom window of your dream house?
I'm just going to do a thing. I'm going to do a thing. I hope you can see it.
Oh. Oh, damn. Wow. That's amazing.
I think everyone froze there. My internet connection is unstable. It didn't like me leaving the flat.
But that view is incredible. Mountain and green and sand and everything.
Yeah, so I'm quite happy. It's not my bedroom window, it's my lounge, but it's good.
Next question. If you could only eat cuisine from one country for the rest of your life.
Italy. There we go. No more that I need to give there. That's just pizza, pasta, tiramisu, ice cream. I'm good.
What was the most shameful fashion period of your life?
Oh, just after I finished school, it was the period of sequined tops with no backs. So yeah, that was bad. And they were really shitty, like glued on sequins that just fell off in all the wrong areas, if you know what I mean. Yeah, with like really low riding pants with like wide bell bottoms and platform shoes. It was when Spice Girls shoes were in. Yes. I remember my drama teacher actually saying to me, you're not allowed to wear those shoes to rehearsals anymore because they make you walk funny. Oh shit, here I thought I looked good. Apparently not. 90s were bad.
A good time. If you had to turn a board game into a play or musical, which board game would you choose?
See, now Clue already exists, but it's not a musical. Or it is, but not a good one. See, Clue's the best. Yeah, I mean, 30 seconds could make an interesting game. I don't know what it would be, but I mean, play, musical, I don't know what. Risk is essentially chess. Chess is chess.
What could be cool is if every night the show is different, so the murderer is a different person. So someone in the audience picks the cards, and then the play is run that way, that they are the murderer. Yeah. Thinking of the rehearsal schedule in my brain, that must be quite intense.
Improv.
Okay, next question. What animal is the most annoying?
I mean, besides humans. I love dogs. Dogs are my favorite, but when it's those little dogs with the little chihuahuas that like want to bite your face off. Yeah, those are pretty much up there. Dogs like rats, bad.
I agree. If your life was a TV show, which actor would play your best friend?
Ooh. Reese Shearsmith from League of Gentlemen.
Oh, interesting.
Yes. Or David Tennant. I'm happy with David Tennant too.
Yeah.
Or anyone who's Doctor Who.
Doctor Who. He can be your best friend. Which book do you tell people you've read, but actually you have never read or haven't finished?
Ooh. I can't think of one. Wait. No. If I haven't read a book, I'm very like, here is a book I know things about, but have never read. Like War and Peace. No one's going to read that. It's a doorstop. All the people who've read War and Peace are now like typing furiously. Ooh, no, there is one. Lord of the Rings. Because I have read it, but oh my God, when it gets to the songs, you just go, skip. And again, someone's going to be going, fuck you. It's the best book in the world.
I'm going to be honest, I can't even bring myself to watch Lord of the Rings. I know that's really...
Oh my God, you're the worst person in the world.
I know, I just can't do it.
Mm-hmm.
Lord of the Rings is also my answer.
Yeah. I actually have a brilliant story for you. So there's a woman who wrote a book called Underhill and Underfoot in show business or something like that. Helen Humph, and she was the woman who was originally given the galleys to read for Lord of the Rings. It was her book to read the book, see if it was worth the publisher looking into and purchasing. And she got the galleys and went off and read it in a cabin somewhere. And she wrote a half-page review just going, ugh, boring. It's just songs and nothing happens and there's a journey. I don't know, who cares, whatever. And she passed on the book. Well, she made her publishers pass on the book, and then it became Lord of the Rings. Her whole life is just about passing up amazing opportunities and never seeing them for what they would have ended up being.
Hectic.
Oops.
Yeah.
Yeah. She skipped the opening night of Oklahoma as well because she just went, who wants to watch a show about a state? And then Oklahoma, and she was like, oh, shit.
This is your last question.
Okay.
What song do you believe was written for you?
Losing my mind from Follies.
I see it, definitely.
Yeah. It's my audition song, but I have a weird thing. I've never listened to a full recording of it.
Really?
I don't want to know how somebody else interprets it. So if it comes on, I switch it off. Like, oh, someone's singing Lose My Mind. Off, mute, whatever. Yeah, I just try to avoid, because the way that I picked it as my audition song was that I just saw it was in a good key for me, and I saw the lyrics and I was like, good lyrics. So I learnt it, but learnt it with someone playing it for me. Didn't learn it from a recording. Good experiment for a song.
It is, because I mean, you don't want any other influence if you yourself as an actor want to make your own choices. I mean, you want to show that in an audition room anyway, that you are capable of understanding text and interpreting it for yourself. So yeah, that's actually a very interesting exercise. I think I should do that.
I mean, I think we're so exposed to so much music now, it's become harder. But yeah. I mean, I grew up where if you wanted to listen to an album, you had to go to the library and go and take out the LP. So you couldn't just go, oh, let me just go on Spotify or whatever. So yeah, because it was harder, the main way that I got hold of sheet music was just going through libraries of sheet music. I was able to sort of borrow from someone and reading the lyrics.
Hectic. Well, thank you, Kimbo, for those lovely questions. Candice, can you tell us, how are you really doing?
Oh, so shit.
Please tell. Pray tell.
Oh, no, it's shit, eh? This bullshit sucks. I have no motivation to do anything creative, or everyone in the beginning was like, oh, write a play, you can write 1 million plays. I'm like, I don't want to, because I keep going, first of all, when the hell is there going to be a theatre to put it on in? How is the landscape going to change in terms of what people actually are willing to put on? Because I can't imagine that there's going to be any theatre going, oh, let's put on some small independent play that's never been tested. Like, we're going to have to put on things that are going to be viable in terms of a commercial success. Probably small casts. So, I mean, the more I think through it as a producer and go like, what's viable? What's going to work? It's not going to be Candice van Litsenborgh wrote a play during COVID and please put it on for me, you know? So that then ended up depressing me more and making me go, well, why sit and pour all this energy into that? I can't film myself. Even this, I'm like, oh, can I put a piece of paper over the bit where I am? So I can't do the thing where I'm like, oh, let's do a play online. That'll be fun. So essentially my contributions to keeping involved in the theatre world have been, I run a little WhatsApp group where we share plays that we find online so we can watch together, my little theatre viewing club. And I have Sunday church on church days. We watch a matinee show together, just friends, either talking via WhatsApp, or now we can actually come together, a few of us, and watch a show and just remember that theatre exists.
Yeah, sure. I mean, can I ask you though, for me personally, there was a period during lockdown where I couldn't even acknowledge that musicals exist. I know how ridiculous that sounds, but I mean, for you to have a theatre club, I mean, are you feeling resentment towards that at all? Like, what do you feel?
When it's shit and you're like, how dare you? You're helping kill theatre. Go away. No, see, the thing is, I wasn't in South Africa for most of the lockdown. I got trapped in March in Botswana. So we got stuck there and we couldn't come back over the border. So, when all the plays were coming out and they were doing National Theatre Live and Bristol Old Vic and whatever, we were like, well, it's a way for me to connect with people back home and we have something to talk about that's a shared experience. Because none of us were really having shared experiences, but I wasn't even having the shared experience of being in South Africa and experiencing the same lockdown as you guys. I was sat on a farm in the middle of nowhere and I didn't see a single soul outside or step foot off the farm for 3.5 months, basically. Wow. Right toward the end when we had to start the process, when lockdown was lifted there and we started the process of trying to get ourselves back home, I managed to see people, but I didn't know anyone other than the people we were staying with. So it was like, right, hello, Africa. And even then it was like a mission to try and go anywhere, because every time you had to go anywhere, you were dealing with government officials, which just made you need to decompress. So yeah, theatre, at least on a Sunday, was a way to just go, well, this is something that we'll have back eventually, maybe. But it had to be the best of the best. Like, it had to be like, I'm not going to put myself through something that's awful. So I admit we switched off a few shows and went, no to this one. And then Hamilton up, so Hamilton, yay.
I still haven't even watched Hamilton. I don't know why. Everything that's like currently happening, I just can't get on board. Even all my students are talking about Six at the moment, and I'm like, nope, I don't want anything to do with it. I don't
know. It's I have listened to a few soundtracks of newer shows like Anne Juliet and stuff like that. But mainly I don't know if anyone else is doing this. I keep rewatching shows. I read a study on it by a few psychologists who said that essentially because we know the outcome. So we know what's going to happen when times are so uncertain. At least if you're watching something with familiar characters, we know their outcome. Even when there's shit going down in the show, there's resolution. And when you're living in a world with no resolution, it provides comfort. And I was like, I am okay with that.
Makes sense, actually. And I find myself doing that as well, where there's so much cool stuff, even with movies and TV shows. But I just want to rewatch The Office because and that's exactly what you're saying, I don't want to start watching something that's going to be terrible. I just want to watch something I like.
I know it's good. And I know even when shit happens, even when there's like storylines where you're going, oh, things are going horribly wrong, what the resolution ends up being. And whether there's a happy ending or not, the ending. And I think, dealing with this where you're just like, when does it end? When does this stop and when do we get a normal world again is just too much psychologically.
Yeah, it is. It's draining, actually. I want to know, your partner's in the industry too, not theatre industry, am I correct? In the film industry.
He has directed a few shows that I've been in as well. And he's done a little bit of theatre here. He did a lot of theatre in the UK that was mainly performed on the Globe stage and places like that, but he is mainly a voiceover artist and director and accent coach for TV and film.
Okay, so how is he dealing with it, and how are you navigating being in a home together when you're both in the same boat, essentially?
Yeah. Well, money are few. Yeah, it's hard. Hey, at least we have voiceover work. We've got a studio at home. Thank God. He had this harebrained idea last year and I was going, what are you doing? I'm losing all my cupboard space. And he turned his wardrobe into a studio. Oh. And at the time I was like, what's happening? Why do I have to make room for your clothes? And thank God he did it. Oh my word. Like if we didn't have that, because we're doing a lot of voiceovers at home. We've done an audiobook recently as well. So it's pretty much, other than a bit of dubbing, our only income. There's been like a couple of ad renewals and little things like that, but essentially it's voice work, and a bit more voice work. It's fine, you know, it's not the most fulfilling work, but it's great that it's there.
Emotionally, like, how are you able to support each other when you're both feeling low and feeling despondent?
It's terrible. You know, I think you take a lot of shit out on each other, because if you're having a day where neither of you is coping at the same time, then you just push and you just go, like, leave, get away. I mean, I've literally just now gone for a drive and gone like, I need to be somewhere where there are no people. So I drove out of Cape Town and back because I was just like, I need to see no buildings, no people, no cars, and just breathe for 2 seconds. And yeah, I ended up driving up the West Coast and then just going, okay, pretty flowers, nice ocean. Oh, look, there's Robben Island. Okay, now I can go back home.
Oh.
I think you've got to do those things for yourself, because I mean, if any of us don't, we'll go bloody mad. This shit is insane. And everyone who manages to be creative during this time, I don't know how you do it. You're amazing. I can't find ways to be. I mean, a friend of mine made this t-shirt. It says fucking hell.
I love that.
Yeah. So she's finding ways to be creative with things that she was never creative with before. It's like, yeah, God, I'm like hitting out in hives, just talking about the stress. Yeah, if you can find some way to do something, you're bloody amazing. I dragged myself to gym for the first time 2 days ago, and I'm like, oh, are we done yet? Are we done yet?
Candice, I must commend you though. I mean, you're someone that I know lots of people look up to in the industry, and the fact that you are being so honest about how you're really doing is really inspiring, as weird as that sounds. I mean, that's kind of the reason why we started this show in the first place. We wanted people to know that it's okay if you're not being your most creative self. It's okay if you need to go outside and scream and you want to stay in bed all day. So thank you for your honesty.
People tell me I must stop doing that. I can't. Shh. Nah, man, it's honestly, I have friends constantly who are just phoning me going like, this is a bad day and I just need to scream. And I'm like, cool, rant, because I'm going to be there tomorrow. Yeah, I mean, I don't actually know anyone who hasn't had a full meltdown during this time, who's just been like, I haven't gotten out of bed and sorry, I haven't phoned any of you for a month, and that's just how it is. I just have to keep reminding myself, and I fail at it horribly all the time, but I keep having to remind myself that like everything I'm feeling and how little I'm coping, the person I'm interacting with, they are also feeling all of that as well. And maybe they are having that day I had a little while ago that was my worst day. Maybe they're having that worst day today. So yeah, I mean, it's a time of apologizing a lot and a time of being very open to people's bullshit a lot, I think, because it's not your normal bullshit. It's not, the meltdowns that you end up having and the friendships I think people might end up losing and relationships with people are, yes, your fault to an extent, but also just circumstances are insane at the moment. Lots of apologies, I think, are going to be made all over the world, and if not, lots of ended relationships and friendships and things. So
very true.
I'm going to just say that was a day where I was not coping, and I hope you can see it for that. And if you can't, sorry.
It's very, very true. So before lockdown happened, what were you doing? What were you keeping busy with? What did your days look like?
Oh, it's so long ago. How many years ago was March? I just finished Kinky Boots at Fugard, and then I was busy rehearsing a show for the Seychelles. So literally the day that I was meant to get on the plane to go to the Seychelles, we got a call saying they had 2 cases or 2 suspected cases there and our flights were cancelled. And then I was put back on a plane back to Cape Town. And a couple of days later, we went up to Botswana to just go, oh, well, like, we'll just go on holiday. But at that time, I don't think we had any cases in South Africa, or if we did, it was like 5 or 6. So yeah, it wasn't really a concern yet. We didn't think we were going to end up stuck. Yeah, and then I was in Botswana doing a 14-day quarantine because we'd crossed a border when lockdown started here. And then a couple of days later, no, literally on the last day of my quarantine, lockdown started in Botswana. God, I can't even, I think I did 77 days of lockdown. Yeah, and then started the process of trying to come back here. Came back here, did another 14 days quarantine. And yeah.
Sorry, I'm laughing.
It's so long.
But I mean, how did you cope with doing a lockdown not in your own space?
Oh, it was awful. No, like, look, it was amazing in a lot of ways. And like, we tried to make a lot of videos. We were on a farm, so there was that. And Rich had like his vegetable garden, and he was planting vegetables and getting up at 6 a.m. and doing insane workouts and things. I went into hibernation mode and was just like, I'll just be here in bed watching 5 seasons of The Magicians and 5 seasons of Battlestar Galactica and talking to friends. And then I started the little theatre Sunday church club thing. I'm just trying to talk to people and doing the Zoom meetings and all that shit. But we also had no alcohol up there, which is just cruel and unusual punishment. You don't do that to people. You don't take booze away when people are not in a good way. We were with family, and it gets tense because you're in the same space with people that you're not used to being in the same space with. So family tensions and things arise. And then once the lockdown lifted, we moved to a friend and stayed there for a few days. I say a few days, like 16 days while we tried to get back after that. And then once we got to the border, they were supposed to put us in another quarantine, and somebody stuffed up and didn't put us in quarantine and just went, just drive, it's fine. So we drove home when we were not supposed to, but yeah, who knows, hey?
Your CV is very, very impressive. Can you please tell the people what your top 3 favorite things on your CV are?
Or Little Shop, because that was awesome, because I got to be Audrey. That's definitely, number 1. That was a dream role. Annie was just not because it was like some amazing, like, oh my God, I've always wanted to do Annie. I've done it twice now. But it was the nicest group of people to work with. It's, when you have that we'll all have our little WhatsApp groups now that we start when we do shows, and you have your work group and you have your social group. I only have 2 social groups that are still running after having done the show. The one is obviously the most recent one, Kinky Beats is still going. But our Annie social group is still running, still going. We all still chat. Like, it was just the friendliest, loveliest environment. I don't think there was a single issue on that show in terms of the cast and crew and everything together. That was lovely. And the same thing to an extent with, some people, so I won't say the show. No, but there was, creative people who didn't like us from another country. Fuck them. Won't say, another show. So Annie was amazing. And then 3rd one, I love all the Sondheims I've done. No, Chase, 100%. Oh my God, that was just the best experience. Actually, that's probably ahead of Little Shop, because amazing group of people as well, but also like Tim Rice was really supportive through the process, and he came to see us for opening night. He was there, he came and spoke to us the night before and then came to opening. I was severely injured during the show before we opened. I had an accident and was like wrapped up in bandages and on a lot of pills. But oh, wow, getting to sing that score. And Tim Rice actually said to us, it was when the Idina Menzel, Josh Groban concert was happening, and he said we were better. We'll take that one. Yeah, he said he couldn't believe the sound that was created by, I think we were 16 people. And they had a choir of like a few hundred. And he was like, you guys make more sound than they managed to make. I'm like, okay. And he said because Chase is such a weird show in that there've been so many different versions of it. because there's the Swedish version, there's the American, there's the British. They've done variations of it. So the version that we did, Charles and Paul actually sort of cut and pasted and whatever and put together our own version. So it's the only version like that that's ever been done in that configuration with those selections of songs. Yeah, that was really special. Beautiful, beautiful production. And I met my bestie, well, not met, I knew my bestie, but my bestie and I like became besties on it.
Aww, what a lovely story. I must say though, I often find that South African casts are way better than overseas casts. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I do hear that a lot. I do get, like when we're doing shows, a lot of audience members will come to us and say, I saw this in London and you were so much better. And yeah, I don't know. It's a weird thing because like I don't think you can always compare casts, but I think there's a energy and there's a hunger in South African casts that maybe isn't there when you've watched a production that's been running for 10 years. You know, if you're going to the West End, you might not be seeing the original show. So I always take it with a pinch of salt. I'm grateful when people say that, but it's like, yeah, I don't know if you saw Cats when it was in its 10th year and then you saw Cats here and it was the first time it was ever a big musical in South Africa, then how do you compare those? But it's nice to hear.
I want to know, what song or musical always makes you cry?
Passion. Oh my God, sometimes Passion is, yeah, that's depressing as fuck. I love it. Oh, I would love to play Fosca. That's number one on the list always. I had a major issue with last 5 years with actually getting to the point where I could listen to it because I'd just been dumped when it came out and I got hold of it and I would put it on, I was like, Jamie is over, switch it off. I think it took me about 3 years to listen to last 5 years. Now I'm okay with it. But yeah, the only one that still really, really affects me every time is Passion.
I haven't actually ever listened to that.
Well, you've admitted you haven't listened to a lot. It's beautiful, but I would suggest watching the video rather than listening.
Okay.
Yeah, you need to see the performance.
Okay.
I struggle nowadays with albums. It's odd. It's like, it used to be that that's how you got into the shows. You would listen to the album and be like, oh, amazing. But now because the video is there already, I don't know if it's that musicals have changed and they aren't like the hits like they used to be, and it's more just like the story is being told through song, but I prefer to watch it now. I feel like I get more out of it now.
I think the opposite. I like to listen and then imagine what it should be based on what I'm hearing, and then be disappointed when I watch it and they've made bad choices.
It's like everybody's talking about Jamie, I listened to and went, eh. And then when I saw the performance, especially by the mother, oh my God, then I was like, okay, this is genius. But I couldn't get into it the same way. Same with Dear Evan Hansen. I was like, yeah, nice. There are a few nice songs, cool. But it didn't grip me until I actually saw the scenes. Maybe the books are getting stronger and they don't need to rely on songs as much anymore. I don't know what it is.
I'm going to say something controversial because there are a few musicals, and I won't say them because the teenagers out there will hate me. Theatre that has been made now all sounds the same. And also it's recorded in a booth, so it's not recorded live. So you're not actually getting the performance. So I think if you see a song live, you're like, wow, this is amazing because you're getting the actor performing it, whereas if you just have to sound pretty in a booth, you lose that emotional intensity. But all of these musicals sound the same. All of these teenage musicals, they have the same sound.
A lot of I was talking to another girl online who I was trying to convince to watch a few shows, and she was also like, I just love the old musicals and I'm not falling in love with newer shows. Individual songs in them sometimes, but not the whole show. And it's like, I remember being a teenager in PE and having to go to the North End Library and take out my 5 little cards, because it was 5 individual cards then, and take out my records with them. And if it was a double LP, you had to give 2 cards. Oh my God. And you could literally only walk out there with like, okay, this week I have company, and like, I don't know, fucking Hello Dolly, and walk out with that. And you just had to sit and listen to that for the week over and over and over again to try and get it in your head, or do the thing where you used your 2 tape decks to try and record it or whatever. You know? So it was so precious to have a show. And David Fick and I grew up together. I remember David like getting a CD, and he was like, I have a CD of a musical. I will make a tape of it for you. And I was like, oh, I will put that in my Walkman and listen to it until it's stretched out to the point where it makes no sense anymore. I don't know, there was something about that process of sharing a musical with someone. I suppose the same way that you had to share a TV show. Like with primary school, I remember someone watching Grease for the first time. She had a tape deck and she taped the songs off the TV and then brought it to school. And we all sat and listened to the songs from Grease on a tape deck at school. One of those old, like long ones, so that we could all hear Grease for the first time, you know, because some people's parents didn't let them watch Grease because it was a naughty show. And like, I don't know if kids are still sharing musicals in the same way, because it's so impersonal now. You just stick in your headphones and listen to whatever you want to. And there's so much available. I don't know if you have time to really, really fall in love with anything anymore. I mean, I'm sure people, but it's just, oh God, it's like a deep love when I had the Chess double album and literally had to sit there going, here's the bit where it's scratched and I don't know what the lyrics are in that bit. Also just that you can find the lyrics for everything. You used to have to sit there and and listen and be like, what is that? What is he saying? Yeah.
I agree with you. I mean, growing up, I also used to take from my drama teacher's library and take it out for the week and listen and go over and over and over and over, and that's how you fall in love with things. I totally agree with you. Nowadays I'm like, okay, cool. I probably won't use anything not like recently to put in my audition portfolio. Do you know what I mean? Like nothing's struck me as, wow, that's a really nice song that I'd love to sing. Very interesting.
Wow. Yeah, I still stick to all the old stuff that I sing. I've got one song now that I'm working on that's a newer song, and I'm like, okay, but that's hard too. Hey, God, it's like singing now. I just go, I don't want to. I don't want to. It doesn't feel singy. The world doesn't feel singy at the moment. The world feels funeral dirgy.
Ah, that's very true. But also you kind of are like, well, why am I singing? What is this for? When am I going to get to sing again? What's the point?
And I'm not a film myself to sing on the YouTube type person. I can't do it. I'll spend the whole time going, your jaw's really skew. Why are you doing that? It was horrible, delete. So yeah, I can't make myself put me out there in that way, so.
Myself feel like cringy if people put videos of themselves online, but now because of lockdown I'm realizing that the only way we get to connect with other performers is by putting our stuff online. And it's so encouraging, you know, hopping on Facebook and seeing so and so has shared something from someone that they don't even know, you know, that's connected in my friend group, but they haven't necessarily connected in real life. Do you know what I mean? So like things are moving around and people are being so supportive of this new online platform and being brave and sharing raw moments at home, singing, you know, in their bedrooms, in their beds or what.
To anybody who manages to do it, like, yeah, there is that fine line between like, what are you doing it for? Like, you know, because I'm very old school in the like, if I'm not telling a story, if I'm not being a storyteller and fulfilling that role, if I'm doing it for vanity's sake, I don't want to be doing it. When all I'm doing is performing for vanity's sake, then I need to not be a performer anymore. And I think that's why I can't do it. But there also are a lot of people who are trying to build their skill set still, and who it's a huge step to be able to go, okay, I'm going to take this leap and put myself online knowing just how awful people are. People are horrible. God, the comment sections of the internet are hell. God, seventh circle of something. So yeah, I mean, in a way, it's like I'm fearful to put myself out there. And in another way, I'm like, it's just not for me. But if you can manage to do that and people are supportive of you, yay. What's good for some people is not good for others. It ain't for me. Maybe one day I'll be like, oh, look, I posted a video, please be kind. But yeah, I think I'm also, you get really scared of doing this as you get older. And my drama teacher, when I was, you'll know Linda Louise Swain.
Yes.
So Linda Lou, like when I was 14, I think. Yeah, around about then, I was doing Maynardville, which is Manville, sorry, which is Maynardville of PE. Doing Much Ado About Nothing there. And she had to take over a role overnight. Somebody had to drop out because their dad was ill. And they had to go and be at their dad's bedside, and she learnt a role in Much Ado overnight and went on that evening.
Wow.
That's insane. Like, and I was like going, oh my God, you're amazing. And she was like, I can't do this anymore. She's like, I'm getting too old and it's too scary now. And at the time, obviously, I was going like, what are you talking about? Like, you're so experienced now. Like, it should be the easiest thing in the world. You learnt a whole Shakespeare role overnight and just took it over. Like, that's incredible. Now that I'm the age she was then, I'm like, I get it completely. You get more and more and more fearful of this job as you get older. Like, hang on to that thing that you have when you're young, when you're just like, I can do this. Like, I got this. I can't walk onto stage now without going, what scene is this and what do I say? Like, my brain does not work in the same way. Maybe there are too many lyrics in here. But I literally am like, who am I and what play are we doing? Okay. God, Earl will back me up on this. God, Earl and I, when we were doing Into the Woods, what was that? God, that was only last year. It feels a million years ago. We would sit there backstage before we had to go on for Act 2, and we'd just be like going, okay, Act 2 of Into the Woods. I'm just going to run through everything I say in this act. And we would literally sit backstage and we would just be like running through the entire like prologue or whatever the hell the opening of the second act is called or whatever. Just going, I say that. I did have the world's most embarrassing moment in that prologue where I blanked completely.
Oh, no.
I kept singing. I have no idea what I kept singing. I think it was something along the lines of Into the Woods, you have to go, you have to go, you have to go. Into the woods, we're going, now we're going, so just go now, or something to that effect. God knows. I literally just kept going with the tune and talking about woods and going and having to and it being important. And yeah. The whole brain, it was like I'd left my body, my brain was over there, and I was just going, okay, yeah, it's a terrifying thing. It was fine the next day, it was fine the day before, just that one day, my brain just in the middle of a number just went.
Short-circuited. But no, I mean, you say that you were fine the next day, but wasn't it like hanging around in your brain like, shit, I can't do this again, and then it becomes like a thing?
You've got to, okay, so most important rule in this bloody job, never hold on to anything. Seriously, like it's the number one rule is I go like, that has just happened. I have just fucked up royally. Let it go, let it go. You can't hold on to it for a second. And I see so many performers, especially like less experienced performers who will be like, oh, I've made a mistake. Oh, I did a thing. I'm like, 90% of the people on stage with you haven't even noticed you've done something wrong. Like the best thing you can do is just go, that happened, whatever. I mean, God, Kate Normington, one. Katie said, this cow is covered in milk with all the complexion in the world. And we were just like, no, it's not. But okay. She walked off, she let it go so immediately that she didn't even remember having said it. And we were like, yeah, you said that. You did that. Sorry. And then she was like, oh, okay, funny. Moving on. You can't get bogged down in it because God, nobody dies if you sing the wrong lyric. Unless sometimes the audience and then but yeah. mistakes happen, you know, sometimes the whole flipping world is swirling around in there, and with Sondheim it genuinely is. And you make a mistake, you do the wrong dance move, you come in on the wrong entrance, you miss the entrance completely. The person who watches the video will know who I'm talking about. Or you walk on for your entrance and stand there and just don't say anything.
Oh. Oi.
The things that I've seen, I've dragged an entire curtain across the stage by my shoe and not been able to get it loose until the last second. Yeah. I've had someone next to me literally sing the same lyric over and over and over again because he couldn't get out of the pattern of saying it. And every time he opened his mouth, the same lyric came out about 20 times in a row. Like, shit happens. No one dies. We're not doctors. I mean, obviously you want to give the best show that you can possibly give, but you know, when you're doing a show for 9 months, it's like, I don't know. And you know, like our lives are happening as well. I've gone on to stage with people whose parents have died the previous day. And you're like, well, what do we do now? Yeah. So sometimes you've just got to make it happen, you know? I've been on stage with the person who's just dumped me and being like, okay, this will be fun. Yeah. How many more days is this one? Do I have an understudy? No. Okay. You just got to carry on. So yeah, I think the job builds a lot of resilience. I don't think you've asked me a question, but I'm just talking now. But yeah, you know, you build that sort of resilience where you just go, shit happens, and you carry on with the next song.
Definitely. Do you feel, I mean, I'm getting this way and I don't know why. I can't go watch a show without feeling anxious for the people I'm watching. I'm constantly waiting for something to happen, or I'm like hanging on the edge of, you know, yeah, literally like that. And I find that I actually just can't watch things anymore because it's just, I'm filled with such like, oh my gosh, are they going to get it right? Are they on the note? What's happening? He's late. Oh my gosh, they made eye contact. What's going on? Is something going on backstage? It's just, it's too much.
Oh God, you need to relax, enjoy what we do. We do a fun thing. You're not watching open heart surgery.
But it is hectic though, because you put so much pressure on yourself as a performer to get things right. I mean, yeah, I'm definitely going to take your advice of just letting things go and letting things happen. If it goes wrong, then whatever is what it is.
You know what, the stories you end up telling are the shit that went wrong because it was funny and it was a shared experience and a moment with your cast. I don't tell anyone about, well, you know, for 700 performances, we got it 100% right.
Yeah.
Yes. That's what you're meant to get it right. It's those days where, you know, you go, oh God, what the hell she got on her head today? Oh, gaffer tape. Okay. You know, like those are the days where you just go, I'm going to remember that one, you know. Yes, I have gone on stage where somebody had a ball of gaffer tape on their head. Again, they'll know who I'm talking about. You know, shit happens, and those are the stories. And we are lucky enough to have a job where we come away with these amazing stories. Oh my God, can you imagine being an accountant your whole life? Oh, remember that time Marjorie did this in the office, you know, boring, who cares? We do jobs where somebody goes off stage the wrong way and breaks their leg, and you're like, that was hysterical.
I would love to hear a podcast of people's stories about things that happen.
That's like the directors and producers would be very happy. Remember that time we fucked up that entire show? That was great. Oh my God, yeah. And shame, I mean, for me, it's always like tell your own stories, don't tell other people's stories. Or if you do, leave out the names.
Yeah.
Kate won't mind saying about her milk story, though. That was hilarious. I'll be like, Kate, you have to watch this. I talk about you stuffing up a lot. No, man, it's a silly job. It's a wonderful job, but it's a silly job. I think it's so silly to be anxious about it. Like, shame, I'm calling you silly. I don't mean to, but yeah, you don't have to be anxious for other people because we tell stories. You're the lady who read the story to the kiddies on the mat when they were little. We're the fireside storytellers from ancient times. It's an important job, but it's not a job that is like something you should be anxious about. Be anxious that you don't step where you're not supposed to step and have like something land on you, but don't freak out about other people performing, unless they're shit. I'm telling you, you're shit. You better. Nah, man, we're just doing it because we love it. I think if you're involved in theatre, you're not, well, unless you really think you're going to become super famous by being a theatre actor, in which case, move on now. Yeah, just, we're doing it because we love it, because we like being on stage, we like telling stories, we like putting on silly costumes and pretending to be someone we're not.
Has there ever been a point in your career where you thought you can't do this anymore?
Every 5 days. Constantly. Yeah, God. You do a show and you go, that was amazing. You do the next show, you go, why am I doing this? I hate my life. Why am I an actor? Oh my God, this is the stupidest job. I should have studied something else. I'm going to go and become an accountant. No, I'm terrible with maths. But yeah, no, all the time. I do not know an actor who's been doing this for a few years who doesn't start going, oh God, I picked the wrong career. So, and that's why I think a lot of us diversify as well and start going like, I'm going to go learn something else, which is a good thing to do. Do that. Yeah, you've got to have all the skills in this bank. So all the voice acting and the stunt and the know how to shoot. I nearly said know how to shoot a horse. How to shoot a horse, shoot a gun. But all those things. Learn all that shit. You know, whenever you have a bit of spare cash, put it into learning a new skill. But if you can literally actually find another degree that you can go and get, I've got one of my friends went and studied logistics while we were doing Annie. She just got her degree now. She's done it like a little bit. Every second actor has a psychology degree or a teaching diploma of some kind or has TEFL or whatever. You've got to have all those things in the back pocket because believe me, there will be times where you go, fuck this career. I want nothing to do with it anymore. And there will definitely be times where even though you want to be in this career, there is no work. And there will be times apparently when a worldwide pandemic shuts down everything and theatre is no more. So it's good to have other skills.
Very, very true. You've created your own shows and starred in your own one-woman shows and things like that. How important do you think it is for performers to be able to create their own work, and what advice would you give them in doing that?
Start way sooner than I did. I went to UCT and UCT gave all the opportunities in the world for you to start to create your own work and put it on. We had a Friday forum or open class or whatever it was called, changed names, where you could start to showcase your own work and put stuff together and start to collaborate with other students there. And I was too scared to take the opportunities. I did what was required of me in the course and did my shows that I was meant to do and was like, oh, I'm too tired to do the rest of it. Do it. Find time, find the energy, start to learn those skills. Even if you're putting on the tiniest little thing for one night for your friends in a lounge, do it. Because when you actually have to start putting that together because you have to, as opposed to because you want to, then you've got that added pressure on. So yeah. Write if you think you can write. If you write something shit, speak to a friend who writes better and make it better. Yeah, film yourself doing it if you're too scared to put it out there and watch it and get one friend you trust to watch it. Just do something that actually makes you start to create your own stuff, because even if you fail, and I don't really think there's any such thing as failing in this, like, you know, unless you literally end up losing every cent you have and you're living on the street now because you did a show where you lost all your money. There's no such thing as failing because you're going to get the experience. Even if that experience is just going, I now understand what the producer of this show that I'm doing has to go through on a tiny scale. I now understand what the director has to go through or what it's like actually making this work. You need to learn those lessons. You need to be open, because our whole job is about being open to other people's experiences and life experience. And if you don't understand the creative process of putting together theatre and you want to be in it, you're missing out on what everyone else's job is. same as understanding what the lighting guy's doing and the sound woman and the person doing costumes and the SM. If you haven't tried to do some of those jobs along the way, how on earth can you possibly empathize with the fact that they've been there 10 hours before you and they're going to work through the night? And you're going to get to go home going, oh, I'm so tired. I had such a stressful tech. And meanwhile, they're there until 7 a.m. the next day. So yeah, always open yourself to every experience that you possibly can. Definitely make your own work, or at least be involved in someone else making work in some capacity, in a role that you would normally take. Because if you're spending your whole life just going, I just want to be the lead in everything, or I'm always this, like, boring. We grow from experience. We learn to be better actors and better performers because we have those experiences. And too many people just want to sit on their arse and go like, oh, but I'm a musical theatre performer. That's what I do. Like, yawn. I have painted sets. I have made a giant dream catcher out of chicken wire for a show and put my hands to shreds. And though it's always the experiences that are like, that was a fuck up, or why did I do that, or whatever, that you remember. Don't remember the stuff that goes well. Memories for yourself, man. Go and do some weird ass job on a show. Go, oh, you need a balloon folder. Cool, I'll learn how to do that. Why not?
Oh, Candice, I've loved chatting to you. Thank you so much for sharing your knowledge with us and your experiences, and for being so honest and raw with us. We really, really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks for letting me talk a lot of shit.
Always. You can always talk shit with us.
Every time I look up at Kimberly, I'm like, polar bear, hello.
Please wave to the camera. Please wave. Oh,
I'm waiting.
yeah.
But I know that's polar bear.